All right, welcome back to another one of our film reviews. Today we are talking Detroit Lions rookie offensive lineman Mason Miller out of North Dakota State. Miller's an under-the-radar guy, but in his first preseason game, he did a lot of really good things. He's a key undrafted rookie that could emerge as a critical depth piece going forward. Nice find by the Lions, and we'll break all that down today. As always, if you have any comments or questions for us, put them in the comment section below. But without further ado, let's jump right into the film. All right, let's open up with a running play, and there's Miller right there at right tackle for the Detroit Lions. So this is going to be a power concept by the Lions. What we're going to get is we're going to get a lot of block downs just like this, block down, work up. We're going to get the guard pulling and kicking out the in-man line of scrimmage. Number 40, the H-back right here, he's going to come across the formation and lead through the hole just like this. Running back's going to take a counter step and fall in just like that. So just to clear up the picture there, the goal is to get a seal here, to get a kick out here, and have number 40 lead through just like that, and the running back follows, right? That's the idea. That's the concept. I want you guys to watch Mason Miller here. Again, if you look at how people graded and evaluated this young offensive lineman, I think they really missed the boat. This was a very savvy play by Miller. Nice job. Let's check it out. All right, there's a snap. You can see the guard pulling, 40 coming through, inside run, decent little play there, nothing special. Good old school power football. Let's look at Mason Miller right here. So he's working up into this gap, trying to get up to the next level. So he fires down. He sees his linebacker inside. He knows, number 63, Mason Miller knows it's a run that's going to bounce to outside his right. So what does he do? He takes that arm, he gets his outside arm, his right arm, and wraps it around that linebacker and throws him and pins him inside just like this. Let me go back to that very beginning. This is a very subtle little play here, but this is so smart, so savvy. I love this kind of stuff. North Dakota State guys are so well coached. He gets up the field, he sees the linebacker is going to fly across his face, and he takes his arm and pins him inside and uses his leverage. Is it pretty? Absolutely not. But he pins the linebacker inside and also finishes too. Let's watch the finish. Stays on him the entire way. Stays on him, part of the pile. Love the effort. Again, nice stuff all around from Mason Miller. Doesn't get the hype, doesn't get the attention. A lot of people look at this and say, nothing special. But for people who know offensive line play, this is a really savvy little thing. Because right here, he could have let this linebacker flow over the top and then he would have been right in the hole. But instead, he pins him inside, uses his leverages, throws him into the trash, gets the job done. Nice rep from the rookie here. All right, from the wide copy, get a good look right there. See how he pins him inside and keeps him leverage, keeps on him, stays on him, and finishes the play too? Really, really good stuff. A lot of offensive linemen, rookies or otherwise, when this linebacker fires and then scrapes over the top right there, they're right in the hole, right? This play should be dead in the water from the linebacker's perspective. I guarantee the Chargers in the film room are looking at 25 saying, listen, man, you're going to make this play. You're right there. But look at Miller. Pins him inside, savvy nature, uses that outside arm, uses his leverage, keeps him in the trash, stays on him, squares him up, and finishes. Nice work. All right, sticking with the running game, there is Mason Miller right there on the left side of your screen. So this is going to be an inside zone kind of concept for the Detroit Lions. So we're going to get left tackle working out this direction. We're going to get the left guard basically reaching and basing this, I'll call it head up 2-eye right there. Center's going to look over to this gap to protect and get on the next level. On the backside, we're going to use what's called a scoop technique. So the guard's going to scoop through this level, try and hold this defensive tackle, this 3 technique on the outside shoulder in this gap as long as possible before working up to the next level. And right here, Mason Miller, his job is to cut off this 3 technique and then keep working up, right? The goal between on the backside of these kind of plays is to create just a wall here and get these guys here on the backside, whoever it may be, on this side of the wall as the running back works this way. That's the goal. It's very hard to do. It's an underrated play. Mason Miller does a great job. Let's check it out. All right, there's a snap. You can see the inside zone concept. You can see, let me go back to the very beginning here. Left tackle working out, left guard basing, center working up to the linebacker. Left guard gets beat here. Good play by number 99 for the Chargers. Let's look at the backside here. So you see how this guard right here scoops up. He tries to work through. He's trying to get to the next level. Really can't get on anybody. Not a terrible job by the guard. Gets kind of held. But let's look at Mason Miller. This is really good. He gets his feet in the ground. Good athlete. Gets 69. The defense tackle cut off. Gets him on the ground. That's awesome right there. But he keeps getting up to the next level and gets on somebody else. This is perfect. Again, is it pretty? If you watch this to its fruition, is it absolutely like beautiful technique, great athleticism? I mean, no, it kind of falls down. Kind of ugly looking play when it's all said and done. But you talk about getting the job done. You talk about executing at a high level. Folks, you can't do any better on a backside scoop, backside cutoff than you can from Mason Miller. Again, there's things to work on technically, things you can improve, foot placement, head placement, all that pad level. And of course, the Lions coaching staff will go through all of that. But getting the job done at a high level, cutting off a backside 3 technique and continuing to work up, great work from Miller here.
Yeah, Nick, and as an undrafted free agent, Miller not going to do everything perfect, but this is something he did really well. High grades from him in this game, run blocking a 68.6 run blocking grade for the young undrafted free agent.
All right, how about some pass protection? You can see Miller right there on the left side of your screen at right tackle. So what the Lions are going to do here is they're going to slide the protection a gap over just like this. So the center's going to take this gap, guard's going to take this gap, tackle's going to take this gap. And what that means in effect is Miller's going to be one-on-one on this defensive end right here in this situation. So Mason Miller, if you look at the grades, you brought up PFF grades a second ago, graded out terribly in pass protection this entire game. I do not understand for the life of me why. He had one bad play. This wasn't one of it. This was a really good job by Miller. Let's check it out. All right, there's a snap. You can see the offensive line with the center sliding a gap to their right, the left side of your screen, the left guard taking over 99 one-on-one, left tackle working out. And you can see Miller there for all intents and purposes, one-on-one on number 54, who's a good player for the Chargers. Again, Miller, if you look at his grades, if you look at PFF, was quite bad in pass protecting according to them. I don't see it, folks. I watched the tape and I just don't see it. Let's look at his pass set here, right? Is it perfect technique-wise? No, his feet are all over the place. His pad level is high, but he gets the job done. Good little punch there, locks out, settles his base down. Does a good job, right? This is a deep throw. This is not a quick throw in terms of just throwing a 2-yard slant. Sets, anchors his base, quarterback can step in and throw it deep down the field. Is this perfect? Is this elite? No. But this is a good player. This is this young Chargers rookie. This is Kennard. He's got a lot of potential. He's a good pass rusher, very productive in college. And Miller right here, technically wise, far from perfect. But again, he gets the job done, and that's what really matters. Let's look at the wide copy here in a second. Watch it here at the bottom of your screen. He gets into his pass set. Not perfect, but right there. Nowhere near the quarterback. Look, is this elite? Is this Pro Bowl? Is this all pro? Is this like Sewell? No, of course not. But is this good enough? Yes, it is, right? This is what you're looking for in terms of young pass protectors, in terms of undrafted free agents. You're not looking for all-pro stuff because otherwise it'd be a first-round pick. But in terms of a good guy who can develop, again, he just gets his body in front of people and gets the job done. Again, not ideal. A lot of things to work on. I think he oversets a little bit here and wants a little bit better base, all that kind of stuff. But it's just good enough. Quarterback's able to step into the throw, no pressure in his face. I mean, look at other guys on this offensive line. They ain't doing any better, folks. You can see the guards getting walked back. You can see the tackles getting walked back a little bit too. And again, this quarterback right here, Hooker, veteran guy, nice throw, hanging in the pocket. Like to see that. But from Mason Miller's perspective, is it elite? No. But is it good enough? Yes. And when you look at his run blocking acumen, that should be more than enough to help him make the team. All right, going back to the running game, there is Mason Miller, of course, at right tackle on the left side of your screen. This is an inside zone concept, and this is blocked very well by the Seattle Seahawks. So what's going to happen, we've got a tight end here. He's going to work outside to about number 49. Miller's going to work on 54. We're going to get a base reach here. Center's going to work up to the next level. Now, anytime you're running inside zone concept and the running backs fall on this track, you're trying to, like I mentioned earlier, is get a cutoff on the backside, but on the play side, you're trying to get a dislocation. You want these guys moving this way. So ideally what happens is you get this cluster dislocated, you get a seal here, the running back follows this track and cuts behind just like this. That is the design, that is the point, and that's exactly what happens on this play. That only works though is if you've got offensive linemen that can get on people and keep their feet moving and dislocate them. It doesn't have to be perfect, you just need to dislocate the defense to create a cutback opportunity. That's what the Detroit Lions do here. Let's check it out. All right, there's a snap. You can see inside zone concept right there. You can see center working up to linebacker, guard basing 94. You can see the cut back there. Nice run. Let's look at Mason Miller. Again, getting on 54. Just run your feet. Run your feet. Keep running your feet. Again, is this elite? Is this perfect? Is this going to draw you gold stars or people are going to talk about you on social media? No, but in terms of getting the job done, getting on, just keep working to reach. Keep working to reach. See how 54 winds out? This defensive end right here, if he can't get reached, he knows if he gets reached, he gets cut, right? It is that bad for you to get reached in that situation. So all they're taught to do as an offensive lineman is just keep trying to reach, keep trying to work. See how wide he gets? Watch what happens to everyone else, right? Look at this play side linebacker, right? He's sprinting, he's running. This linebacker knows he's got to maintain this relationship, but he sees 54, he sees 94 widen out. He's got to widen out even more. He forces himself out of the hole. You see where this linebacker is? Because he sees how far 54 goes outside. He's like, I got to go outside too. Center gets on him, shows him out of the way, opens up the cutback opportunity. Would have been a huge run if they could have gotten 98 cut off on the backside. They don't get it done. It's preseason. I understand not everything's going to be perfect. But again, when you just run your feet, it doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be beautiful. If you just do your job and move your feet, good things will happen.
Yeah, Nick, and when we talk about Miller, you say this guy he doesn't have to be perfect. This is not an all-pro type of player. He's not going to be slotting in as a starter day one, but when you look at what he brings to the team, a lot of versatility throughout college, a lot of snaps. He's played at left tackle, he's played at left guard, he's played at right guard, and he's played at right tackle all throughout his college career. A lot of versatility coming with Miller to this Lions team.
All right, sticking with the running game, but going the other way now, there is Miller, this time on the right side of your screen at right tackle. So this is going to be a gap concept. We showed inside zone on the previous play. So we're going to get double teams inside here. This is gap, working up to the next level, working to linebacker. Double team inside here, working to linebacker. We're going to get right here this tight end basing him. We're going to get the wide receiver coming in motion and then inserting just like this. And Mason Miller right here base blocking this stand-up edge right here who's covered up by this goalpost right there. That's not ideal. But in this situation, what happens is that this defensive end, this edge player, tries to jump outside and cut across his face. In a perfect world, what I would love from Mason Miller is that when he does that, you bury him inside and put him on his butt. But even if you can't do that, if he jumps inside, you got to get movement. You got to dent the defense. And that's exactly what the young tackle does here. Let's check it out. All right, there's the motion. You can see he's settle him right there. At the snap, he inserts, gets up to the next level, trying to work up to the safety. Let's look at these double teams right here. Double team to 25, double team to that linebacker. Right, you can see good movement right here on this side between the center and guard. Watch them walk back this defensive lineman, get on the next level. That's good stuff. Let's look at Mason Miller right here. Again, he's trying to work out. I like him to be a little bit more aggressive, but I understand there's a lot of green grass right there. You don't want to fire out too aggressive and he just jumps around you. So he's a little slow with it. He gets a shot, good hands. This edge rusher, this edge defender tries to go inside. That is the stupidest thing I've ever seen from this guy, unless he was told that. I don't know why. Because right here, if you flash inside, this running back, if he's really good, he just bounces outside and he may score, right? That's what happens when we're in big boy football come the regular season. But this young edge defender, he tries to go inside. So what does Mason Miller do? Gets on him and just walks him back. 4, 5, 6 yards downfield, stays on him the entire time. Again, is it beautiful? Is it, highlight film worthy? No. But in terms of getting the job done, getting movement, again, look at this dislocation of the defense. And we'll get to the wide copy in a second. You can really see it. It gets really, really easy to tell. Look at Mason Miller right here at the top of your screen. They're starting at the, 38-yard line. They're on 38. So he engages right there. Line of scrimmage again at their own 38. Watch what happens. Miller walks him back all the way to, the 42, 43. 4 or 5 yards of movement, guys. You talk about denting a defense, good double team inside, denting a defense too. Look at this new line of scrimmage. Look at this surge right here on the right side of the Lions offensive line. Again, is it beautiful technique? Is I think a little too high? Yeah, maybe, his hand placement, whatever. There's something the Lions coaching staff will correct. But just executing, getting the job done. That's what Mason Miller does. He gets on people, he cuts people off, good enough in pass protection. He gets movement when it's needed, runs his feet, stays on people. All the underrated aspects of playing offensive line, Mason Miller does at a high level. Again, I don't think he's going to be a day one starter or anything close to that. But in terms of a potential hidden gem, a steal, a great find, I think Mason Miller could be one of these guys. Definitely someone to keep an eye on going forward. All right, sticking with the running game, another inside zone concept here, but it's almost a design cutback. So what the Lions are going to do here is they're going to take the H-back number 40 right there. He's going to come across at the snap and kick out the in-man line of scrimmage. All the offensive linemen are going to take zone tracks this direction. So the goal is to get flow this way. Let me draw better. That's a terrible arrow, but still get flow that way, and then have the kick out here, and the running back goes this way, and then goes just like that. That's the goal. That's the design. Mason Miller in this situation, a pretty easy task. There he is at right tackle. His job is to fire out and base reach this edge defender and just, make sure he doesn't completely blow the play up or something like that, right? It's a pretty easy task. This is an example of I want a little bit more from Miller, but even though it wasn't a great block, his effort is still there, which I really like to see. Let's check it out. All right, there's a snap. You can see 40 come across right there to kick out the in-man line of scrimmage. You can see right there the Lions, they went on those zone tracks working to the right, trying to get flow from the linebackers. 25, really smart job right here from the Chargers. He sees it the entire way. He's in good position, just misses the tackle. Man, not a great game for 25. But in terms of execution, this is kind of what you want from the Lions. You're trying to get flow, everyone running to the right, fullback, H-back kicking out, the in-man line of scrimmage on the left. That's what you're looking for anyway. Let's look at Mason Miller here. So again, fires out on the defensive end. He's just got to make sure he doesn't blow up the play. Defensive end comes off him a couple yards downfield. Listen, you don't want to hold or do anything stupid here, so that's all fine. Like, nothing spectacular, but that's okay. But what I like at the end of this is that he keeps looking for work, right? Finds someone else, gives him a shove, stays on him, right? One of the things I think is really important for offensive linemen is setting the attitude. And the Lions really do this up front with their offensive line, and they've done this, I think, during the Dan Campbell era. You got to make life miserable for these guys up front, especially defensive linemen, edge rushers in particular. They want to get after the quarterback. They want to do their sack dances. They want to celebrate, do all that kind of stuff. That's how they get paid millions of dollars. Make life miserable, right? Fighting in the run game is what they don't want to do. So what do? You have an opportunity to get on someone, move them a little bit more? Yeah, do that. Shove them around a little bit. Make life hard for them. Make them hate playing the run. Break their will. Break their attitude. And I'm not saying this is an impact block or anything crazy like that, but just little things like this. Every play over time wears teams down. It beats their psyche. It destroys their will to play. Things like this, I like to see. It's a sign of finish. It's a sign of effort. If you get an entire offensive line doing things like this, driving and playing to the end of the whistle, you will break a defense's will by the fourth quarter.
Yannick and Mason Miller coming out of college, just this guy who I'm glad to see already. He's using that size, 6'7", 305 pounds, to be a strong run blocker because that wasn't his strength coming out of college. Actually, 80.3 pass blocking grade there, 70.4 run blocking. Not bad by any means, but showing good acumen as a run blocker at the next level. I think the pass blocking will come, like you said. He's rated lowly, a little bit too low probably, but good run blocking by Mason Miller so far.
All right, this next play is a good teaching example of sometimes everything go wrong for a tackle, go wrong for an offensive lineman. Like sometimes the defense guesses right, but your running back can help you out. And this is a situation where it looks bad for Mason Miller. Not a great play, but it could have actually been an effective play for the Lions. So what this is going to be is another inside zone concept. So we're going to get base here, center taking this step, working up to the next level. We're looking tight scoop up next level, scoop up next level. Running back taking this track just right here. And we're going to get Mason Miller. His job is to base reach this defensive end. Like we saw before, you want to try and widen him out and dislocate him if you can. Now this defensive end, you can see the structure, right? He's all the way out here. He has outside contain. What he does when Mason Miller tries to go out to him is jump inside, which is a disaster. Should not do that. That's a terrible decision to make. Mason Miller actually stays on him. If 42 could have seen it and bounced outside, it could have been a huge play. This could have been a situation where the running back could have made the tackle right. Instead, it looks like the tackle did a poor job. Let's check it out. All right, there's a snap. You can see the zone tracks across the board. All right, you can see Mason Miller. He's going out to base reach him, right? And this defensive end, this edge rusher, he's outside contained, decides to jump inside. That's dumb. That's bad football, right? This guy ain't going to last in the NFL if he does that, to be totally honest. But he jumps inside. So right here, Mason Miller actually is on his outside shoulder right there. If this running back, and we'll get to the wide copy in a second, just bounces it outside, there's nobody there. There's nobody there. It's a huge run, one-on-one with the safety for probably a touchdown, right? Or certainly even a much longer run. But right here, because he's not expecting it, 42 sees it. He kind of stutters his feet, tries to jump around. Ticky-tacky holding call there. I hate that. It's a bad holding call, right? I mean, I understand it looks kind of bad. He's got a little grab on there, but that's not anything too crazy. He's got his hands inside. I understand why they called it because it was right at the, right in front of the ref. I get that. I just think it's a little ticky-tacky, just my personal opinion. But if you look at the running back, right here, dude, bounce it. Right, bounce it. You can get outside of that. Your tackle's there. He's on him. Mason Miller stayed on him. He needs to bounce it and make Mason Miller right. And from the wide copy, you'll really see this. Look at this top of your screen. So you can see he jumps inside right there. If you're the running back, I know that looks scary, but if you just bounce it outside, there's safety and nobody else. Everyone else is blocked. Everyone else is pinned. You bounce this outside. If you get around this trash, there is nobody there. Again, I'm not blaming the running back too much because he sees opposite jersey right in his face right now. He's like, oh God, I got to get north and south, which to be totally honest, isn't the worst approach to make. But this is what can happen sometimes. Sometimes an offensive lineman, the defender makes kind of a dumb play. He jumps out of his gap and your running back can make you right by doing something special. And this is a situation where that doesn't happen. Mason Miller, in terms of doing anything better on this play, there's some things you could critique. If I go back to the end zone view here, there's some things maybe clean up, maybe too a little aggressive, misses with his hands. That's all fair, right? There's things to clean up. But right here, if you've got a defensive end, an outside contained player that's going to jump inside, this guy's going to lose games. You're never going to see that, right? And that's one of those things. If that happens, Jahmyr Gibbs, what do you think he does? He bounces outside and scores, right? Nobody in their right mind is going to do that against the Lions starters come the regular season. So while it looks bad for Mason Miller, I think the fact that he stays with it, again, a little bit of ticky-tack hold, but he stays with it. He stayed on him. He actually reached him, all things considered. He's on him right there. He's got him reached. Running back bounce out right there would have been a really big play for the Lions. All right, we talked about Mason Miller, and there he is right there at right tackle, of course, in terms of his poor passing grade, if you look at the analytics. And like I said, I don't understand it. So this is a situation where he's going to be one-on-one pass rush against, again, that's Kennard, really good young edge rusher, really good in college, very explosive, great athlete, and he does a very good job. This is a check-the-box kind of block. You got to get it done, and Mason Miller does. He graded out so poorly. People viewed him as a bad pass blocker, but when you look at the film, it just ain't there, folks. He's a really good player. Let's check it out. All right, there's a snap. You can see the good kick slide from Miller. Good job, good punch, gets a little chip help, stays on him, stays in front of him, locks him down. Nice job, right? This is whatever you want to call it. Check in the box, quality tackle play, good pass pro. That's exactly what this is right here. Good athlete, love the way he moves his feet. He's always moving his feet. Good hands, stays in front of him. Nice work, right? Again, it gets chip help from the running back. I will say sometimes the chip help can even make it harder to pass protect, as weird as that sounds. It lowers the momentum of the edge rusher, but sometimes the running back can chip him into some open space. So if you can see right here, as Miller's pass protecting, if this running back 42 chips him right into this crease, that can allow the pass rusher to get by the tackle. We'll see that happen all the time, actually. But here, Miller gets the chip help, stays in front of him, cuts him off. Good job, right? Everything you want to look for in a pass protection play from a tackle, this is what you're getting. And I understand, look, he gave up a sack. It wasn't perfect. He's not, didn't have an all-star kind of game. Didn't play a perfect game of football. But I really don't understand the negative nature in terms of the analytics with Mason Miller's, what the people at PFF saw. Because I looked at his film, and I see a lot of good. I see a lot of things to work on, undeniably so. He's a rookie, an undrafted free agent, long way to go. But I think he's a guy that's got serious potential, and I think that's why the Lions are really excited by him. He's a great athlete. He moves his feet. He understands the game. He's very savvy. Can do a lot of things in the run game, backside cutoffs, get up to the next level, base people, reach people. Good enough in pass pro, needs to improve still in these situations, but still more than good enough. I think he's an underrated player on this Detroit Lions rookie class, underrated on their front offensive line. I think he's got a really bright future in front of him. The question is, can he improve? And if you look at the wide copy again, really nice job. Gets a chip help, stays in front of him. Perfect, right? No one near the quarterback, perfect pocket. I mean, I don't know what happened there. It was kind of I don't know if it was a miscommunication or a bad throw, whatever it is. But it's 3rd and long, passing situation, right? This is where the offensive line, specifically the right tackle, has to do a good job. And I want to highlight something. You talk about smart plays. Look at this left tackle here. See how deep he is? You guys know last year they started emphasizing calling this penalty more. This probably could have been a penalty. We're going to see this called a lot in the regular season. You look at right here, Mason Miller, perfect alignment, no penalty, clean. Gets on him. Good punch, good base, moves his feet, stays on him, locks him down. Again, is he a perfect tackle? Is he a perfect offensive lineman? Of course not. But he's well coached, he's smart, he plays hard and gets the job done. I think he was a great find by the Detroit Lions.